Empires are often built on war and fear, their rulers remembered for bloodshed and conquest. But in 16th century Hindustan, a new kind of empire was rising, one not just forged by the sword, but by alliance. Its architect Jalal-ud-Din Muhammad Akbar understood that fear alone could not sustain power. Akbar's true genius lay in turning enemies into family, by marrying into the proud Rajput clans. Unlike the usual political marriages of the time, Akbar's unions were built on respect, not subjugation. He welcomed his new wives' traditions into his court, forging bonds deeper than treaties. This is the story of how Akbar transformed the Mughal state from a foreign occupation into a truly Indian empire. Through empathy and pragmatism, he created a culture of tolerance that would define an era. Akbar's experiment was risky, but it changed the course of Indian history. In the year 1556, a remarkable event unfolded in the heart of India. Akbar, still barely a teenager, found himself thrust onto the throne of the Mughal Empire. He was a boy in years, but destiny had chosen him for a task that would challenge even the wisest of men. He inherited not a flourishing empire, but a throne surrounded by uncertainty and shadows. The halls of power echoed with emptiness, and the royal seat itself seemed to tremble under the weight of expectation. Akbar's father, Humayun, had only just managed to reclaim Delhi after years of exile and struggle, but his sudden death left the empire fragile, with Akbar encircled by hostile forces and few loyal supporters. The young emperor faced a world where every ally was uncertain and every enemy was emboldened. The Mughal position was precarious, like a small island in a vast hostile sea. The treasury was nearly empty, the army was small and exhausted, and the empire's borders were threatened on all sides. In these desperate early years, Akbar's survival depended on the wisdom and loyalty of his regent, Bairam Khan. Together they navigated treacherous politics and constant threats, forging a partnership that would shape the future of the empire. The turning point came at the Second Battle of Panipat. Against overwhelming odds, Akbar's forces triumphed, securing his claim to the throne, but victory on the battlefield was only the beginning. Ruling a vast and diverse land would require more than just military strength. Endless warfare, Akbar realized, would only breed resentment among his people and drain the empire's precious resources. The scars of conflict were everywhere, villages in ruins, soldiers weary, and supplies running low. Akbar understood that to truly rule, he needed more than obedience. He needed genuine partners. He began reaching out to local leaders, inviting them to his court and seeking their counsel. Among these leaders, the Rajputs stood out. Famed for their fierce independence and martial prowess, they were both his greatest challenge and his greatest opportunity. Winning their trust would not be easy. Instead of seeking to crush the Rajputs, Akbar envisioned a bold new path, one of alliance through marriage and mutual respect. He saw that unity could be forged not just by the sword, but by the joining of hands and hearts. This strategy transformed former enemies into the very foundation of his empire. Rajput nobles became trusted allies, their loyalty strengthening the Mughal state from within. It was a daring gamble, one that would not only secure Akbar's throne, but redefine what it meant to rule in India, setting the stage for a new era of unity and greatness. The turning point in the history of Mughal-Rajput relations came in 1562, a year that would forever alter the destiny of northern India. Raja Bharmal of Amber, facing mounting pressure from rival kingdoms and the expanding Mughal Empire, made a momentous decision. He offered his beloved daughter, Harka Bai, in marriage to the Mughal Emperor Akbar, a gesture that would echo through the centuries. This was not a token of defeat or submission, but a bold and strategic alliance. Raja Bharmal negotiated that Harka Bai would retain her Hindu faith and customs, a condition that was unprecedented at the time. It was a move that signaled mutual respect and a willingness to bridge two powerful cultures. Akbar, known for his vision and open-mindedness, agreed to these terms. By doing so, he broke with the rigid traditions of his ancestors and sent a powerful message across the subcontinent. He sought partnership, not domination, and valued the strength that came from unity. Their wedding ceremony was simple by royal standards, yet its significance was immense. It was not just a union of two individuals, but a merging of two great dynasties, two faiths, and two worlds. Harka Bai, who would later be known as Mariam-uz-Zamani, became the first and most influential of many Rajput queens at the Mughal court. Her presence brought new customs, art, and traditions into the imperial household, enriching the Mughal culture. By accepting her without demanding conversion, Akbar demonstrated a rare respect for Rajput culture and religion. This act of tolerance and acceptance set a new precedent for religious harmony in the empire. The alliance secured Akbar a loyal and formidable base in Rajputana, bringing powerful new allies into his fold. The Rajputs, renowned for their valor, now stood beside the Mughals, not as subjects, but as partners. Raja Bharmal's family rose to prominence as trusted generals and advisors, fighting bravely for the Mughal cause and shaping the future of the empire from within. The gamble paid off. Akbar's court was now bound by blood and trust to the Rajputs, creating a powerful network of kinship and loyalty. This act of inclusion and unity set the stage for a new era of cooperation, where differences were celebrated and alliances forged through respect. Akbar's empire would be built not just on conquest, but on kinship, understanding, and the enduring power of peace through unity. The arrival of Rajput princesses at the Mughal court marked a turning point, transforming the palace into a vibrant symbol of India's diversity. Their presence brought new customs, languages, and beliefs into the heart of the empire, making the court a living tapestry of cultures. Akbar, ever the visionary, welcomed these traditions with open arms. He permitted the construction of Hindu temples within the palace walls and encouraged the participation of his Hindu queens and courtiers in their sacred rituals. This unprecedented acceptance fostered a sense of belonging among all communities. Soon, festivals like Diwali and Holi were celebrated alongside Islamic holidays, their colors and lights blending seamlessly with Mughal grandeur. The palace echoed with laughter, music, and the joy of shared festivities, creating a unique fusion of traditions. Akbar's insatiable curiosity led him to seek dialogue with Hindu priests, yogis, and scholars from many faiths. He listened to their philosophies, debated ideas, and deepened his understanding of the spiritual landscape of his realm. This personal respect for all faiths soon became official policy. Akbar abolished the pilgrimage tax and the jizya, taxes that had long burdened non-Muslims, thus ending centuries of religious discrimination and opening the doors of the empire to all pilgrims. At the heart of Akbar's rule was the principle of Suli Kul, universal peace and tolerance. This philosophy became the foundation of his empire, inspiring policies that promoted harmony and mutual respect among all subjects. The palace itself became a living laboratory for unity, where people of different faiths, backgrounds, and regions coexisted, collaborated, and thrived together under one roof. Rajput queens were not kept apart. Instead, they became influential matriarchs, guiding the royal household and shaping the next generation with a blend of Rajput and Mughal values. Their children, like Akbar's heir Salim, later known as Jahangir, embodied this remarkable synthesis, carrying both Mughal and Rajput heritage in their blood and upbringing. The Rajputs, once rivals, were now family. Their destinies became intertwined with the Mughal throne, forging bonds of loyalty and trust that would shape the future of the empire. This new kinship brought unprecedented stability and unity to the empire, as nobles from many backgrounds worked together in the service of a common vision. Akbar's household stood as a shining example, a model for a pluralistic state, where diversity was not just tolerated but celebrated as the very strength of the empire. Akbar's Rajput queens wielded real influence, acting as bridges between their families and the emperor. They advised Akbar on Rajput politics, helping him navigate alliances and rivalries. Their counsel shaped imperial policy, making the Mughal state more responsive and stable. Harka Bai, as mother of the heir, held immense prestige and used her wealth for trade and charity. These queens protected their home kingdom's interests, ensuring their families received key positions. Their presence transformed the relationship between Mughals and Rajputs from one of dominance to partnership. The queens were not just symbols, they were active participants in shaping the empire. Their quiet power helped hold the Mughal world together. Akbar's marriage alliances brought Rajput nobles into the heart of Mughal power. They received high ranks, land, and command, becoming pillars of the empire. Fighting for Akbar meant fighting for family, not a foreign ruler. This bond created stability. Rajput-ruled provinces became the most peaceful in the empire. Even as some Rajputs resisted, many became Akbar's staunchest defenders. The strategy divided opposition but also offered real inclusion. Akbar trusted his new kin with armies and provinces, and that trust was repaid. The Rajputs' loyalty and martial skill expanded and protected the empire. Akbar had turned former enemies into the bedrock of his rule. Akbar's policies created a unique Indo-Persian culture at the Mughal court. Rajput art, architecture and customs blended with Persian traditions, visible in places like Fatehpur Sikri. The court's language and literature reflected this fusion. Sanskrit epics were translated into Persian. The children of these unions, like Jahangir, embodied this new identity, shaped by both Hindu and Muslim influences. Jahangir continued his father's legacy, maintaining Rajput alliances and supporting the arts. Powerful women, like Nur Jahan, followed in the footsteps of Akbar's queens, shaping policy from within. This era of synthesis became the Mughal Golden Age, marked by peace, prosperity, and creativity. The empire thrived not by crushing diversity, but by embracing it. Akbar's genius was in building strength through inclusion. His flexible, diverse empire became a model for unity in a divided land. Akbar's legacy of tolerance was fragile, dependent on the vision of the ruler. His successors, Jahangir and Shah Jahan, continued his policies, but tensions simmered beneath the surface. With Aurangzeb, the empire turned away from pluralism, reimposing taxes, destroying temples, and alienating the Rajputs. The bonds of kinship unraveled, and rebellion followed. The Mughal Empire, once built on alliance, began to crumble under the weight of intolerance. Aurangzeb's choices led to endless wars and decline. Akbar's story is a lesson. Power built on understanding and inclusion endures. His empire flourished because he trusted and respected his former enemies. When that trust was lost, so was the empire's strength. In a world still divided by faith and culture, Akbar's reign remains a powerful example of unity through diversity.